Hello everyone, it's Amna, student storyteller with the Faculty of Student Development at TRU. I've already downloaded Read&Write and have been exploring some of its features on my own. But I still wanted to learn more about its features and benefits, so I invited Assistive Technology Specialist Nadia Karim to give me a tour.
Hi Amna, I'd love to show you some of my favorite Read&Write features. For anyone who has questions about how to download Read&Write, check out the helpful video from Amna. Otherwise, let's jump in. Let's start by taking a look at the highlight feature. I don't know about you, but I'm a huge fan of using highlighting as a tool to help me focus in on important information within large pieces of text. So naturally, I love the highlight feature within Read&Write. You can use the highlight tool to highlight important information in documents that you're working with, just as you would with a real highlighter on paper. Let's check out how this works. Within your document, simply select a chunk of text that you'd like to highlight, and then select one of the highlight colors from the Read&Write toolbar. I'm going to choose yellow. Now I can easily find important information that I know I'd want to refer back to. The part I love most about this tool is that you can not only highlight important information, but you can also collect the different pieces of information you've highlighted and create a separate study sheet that you can then manipulate and use. For example, say I'm on the web looking at information about cell structure, and I know this is information that I'm going to want to remember. What I can do is use the highlighter tool to capture and organize this information. I'm going to highlight the different parts of the cell in pink, and I'm going to highlight their definition in yellow. Now that I have my highlights, I can go back up to my Read&Write toolbar and select the Collect Highlights button. This looks like 4 arrows in a circle. I'm going to click on that, and what this will do is take the information I've highlighted within my Google Chrome browser and import it into a Word document so that I can now manipulate the information and add my own information if I'd like to. It's also very simple to get rid of the highlights if you change your mind. All you have to do is select the text that you'd like to remove the highlights from, and then select the Erase Highlights button from the Read&Write toolbar. It looks like a broom, and that will get rid of the highlights for you. The highlight tool within Read&Write can be used to highlight and draw attention to important information within a document, but that's not all it can do. Another really cool thing you can do with the highlight tool is create your own study guide. Let's take a look to see how that works. Within my notes, I'm going to select the terms that I know I'll need to memorize, such as cell membrane, nucleus, and cytoplasm. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight these terms using the Read&Write highlight tool. And you can choose any color that you'd like for this. And what I'm going to do next is go back up to my Read&Write toolbar, and this time I'm going to select the vocabulary list button. This will bring up a window and it'll show you the words that you've highlighted. You can check that out and make sure that's what you want, and you also have the option to add another word if you'd like to add that to your study guide. I'm going to add nucleolus here, and I'm going to hit create. And what this will do is open up another Word document, but it'll have organized it in this nice little chart, and that'll include the terms that you've highlighted, the definition pulled from the internet, an image if there's one available, and a column where you can add your own notes. What I like to do here is go to layout and change the orientation to landscape. That gives me a little bit more room to work in, and I can also insert another column to the right here, and I'm going to call this one examples. Now I have this wonderful chart that only took a few minutes to put together, and I can go ahead and add some more notes, maybe from a lecture or a textbook, and I can include a real-world example that'll help me with my comprehension on this topic.
This is only one way that these tools can be used, and I encourage you to play around and see how they can best suit your needs. Next, I'd love to show you the screen masking feature and how it can be used. When I find myself spending a lot of time looking at screens and navigating through large documents filled with text, I can sometimes find it hard to stay focused on what I'm reading. This is where Read&Write's screen masking tool really comes in handy for me. Let's take a look at how I use screen masking to stay focused.
Here's an article that I'd like to read, but it's not very easy on the eyes. What I'm going to do is go ahead and go up to my Read&Write toolbar and click on the screen masking button. This looks like a monitor with a line through the middle. Once I turn that on, the default setting looks something like this. But we can change the settings by going to the screen masking bar down at the bottom here and clicking on screen masking settings. You can see there's a few options here, but I'll show you my favorite way to use this tool. I'm going to go ahead and change the background color to a light pink as I find that easier on the eyes. And I'm going to change the opacity to almost at 100. I'm going to have the reading ruler on, and I'm going to leave the reading ruler color transparent, but you're welcome to pick another color that's easier for you. And then I'm going to change the reading ruler height so that it's a little bit smaller, quite a bit smaller. And I'm going to go ahead and close the settings there. Now when I go back to my document, I can focus on one line at a time, which I find really helpful if I'm struggling with focus. It's also very easy to turn screen masking off. You just go back to the toolbar here at the bottom and turn screen masking off with that power button icon. Another way to use a screen masking feature is to use it as a tool for testing your knowledge, essentially like a flashcard. I'm going to pull up my study guide that I made using the vocabulary list builder, and I'm going to just move these definitions down a line, and you'll see why in just a moment. And I'm going to turn screen masking back on, and now I can use screen masking to only look at the definition and see if I can remember the definition without looking at the rest of my notes. This is an awesome and quick way to test yourself while studying.
That was Read&Write's screen masking tool. Next, I'd love to show you how you can use the talk and type and the text-to-speech tools to help you with your studies. Let's check it out. Most of us spend a lot of time staring at screens and typing on all our different devices. Sometimes it's nice to take a break from that, and I'd love to show you the two Read&Write features that help me do just that. Let's start with talk and type.
I have a Word document open, and I'm going to click the talk and type icon on my Read&Write toolbar. This button looks like a headset. Once it's open, you'll see a new bar pop up, which will let you know that the program is listening. The talk and type feature within Read&Write allows you to dictate your thoughts using your voice instead of typing. Period. Space. This can be really nice when you've been typing all day and your fingers and wrists need a break, comma, or maybe it's just easier for you to get your thoughts out using your voice. Period. And you can just turn off the recording by clicking on the microphone on this toolbar, and you can exit out of it by clicking the X there. Please keep in mind, the more you use the tool, the more familiar the program will become with your voice and the more accurate the results will be. So if you try it at first and you're finding it's not accurate, don't give up right away and give it some time to get used to your voice. The next feature I wanted to show you is the text-to-speech feature. This feature will read text out loud for you. This can be helpful if you'd like to take a break from reading, if you find it helpful to hear text being read out loud, or to help when you're reviewing your work for errors. Let's take a look at how this one works. I'm going to open up my notes on cell structures, and all I have to do is select where I want it to start speaking, and then hit the play button on my Read and Write toolbar.
Plants can be broadly categorized into two basic types, vascular and non-vascular. Vascular plants are considered to be more.
You can use the tools up here to navigate through the speech, so you can pause it or stop it depending on what you'd like to do. You can also change the voice speed, and more within the speech settings to make sure that this tool works best to suit your needs.
Those were a few of my favorite Read and Write features. I hope you found some of these tips useful, and I can't wait for you to try them out for yourself.
Thank you, Nadia. I can definitely see Read and Write being a super helpful addition to many study sessions. If people do want to learn more about Read and Write, who can they contact?
You're very welcome. I'm always available if you have any questions or would like some more in-depth training with Read and Write. You can book an appointment with me by emailing or phoning accessibility services.